Kara, you said you were going to dig into this, and I wonder if you can tell us at this point whether this is real innovation or simply money carving out excuses to spend it.
Well, there's a lot of money, right? Like, there's going to be a huge boom because so much investment is sort of wandering around and washing around. And obviously, it's the same issue around Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies. And so there needs to be somewhere where it needs to be spent. At the same time, things that are of value, just because it's digital doesn't mean it's not of value. I think people get, I was arguing with someone. They were like, well, I can get any copy of it. And I said, well, you can have copies of the Mona Lisa, but it's worth something. And so you don't have to owning it and having the right to it and having a very clear, verifiable right to something is worth something in terms of collectibles. And so it makes sense that there'd be digital collectibles here. It's not the biggest leap. I'm not sure why people have a hard time understanding that. I think the more difficult one, of course, is Bitcoin and what it's worth and what it can buy. And here's something it can buy, actually. Here's something it can afford and is worth something to somebody.
Yeah. Beeple's point to us last week after the auction had closed was that, these may be mispriced and there's going to be pain. He used the analog of the dot-com boom where people lost a lot of money, but the internet remained. Do you think that's legit?
That's right. Yeah, I do. I think it's not, I think look, there's a possibility of a lot of fraud here and a lot of silly stuff. There's a lot of paintings you wouldn't pay for all over the place. And then there's paintings that you would pay for. And that's the way the art market works. If you wanted to look at any market like this, you could make fun of a lot of it. And some of it is worthwhile. Baseball cards, all kinds of things. There's dozens of collectibles of all kinds of stuff that people do. And so you're going to see declines in prices here, just like you do in all these other collectible markets. But it is being spurred by the value of Bitcoin at this point. It seems like it. And so that's what it's linked to. And so, at some point, though, real money, people will pay real money for these digital objects. Presumably, I hate to use the word real money because all the Bitcoin people will go crazy. I mean, they think it's real, too. And it is. It's worth something. You can buy and sell it. So I don't know. I just feel like if someone's willing to pay for something, that's what it's worth until it's not worth that. It's the same thing. You feel like there should have some underlying value. I think that's what people are talking about. But there is underlying value to owning the tweet that Jack Dorsey started Twitter with. To actually own that tweet it has value if he sells it to you and it's his property. So anyway.
Yeah, Kara, I think that if that can be framed in some way, also if Jack Dorsey signs it, then it also has a different sort of value. I also spent some time thinking about this last week, and one of the things that I came to is that looking at this Beeple sale, there's a whole class of crypto capitalists now, different from venture capitalists, who are interested in establishing blockchain as being relevant beyond just Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies. And this was a deliberate move on their part, this NFT move, and specifically Beeple, to bid this thing up to show that this technology is worth more than people think. And I think they succeeded in that in a way that Sand Hill Road has not, right?
Well, if you think about it, a lot of people were not doing Bitcoin, and then suddenly companies like, other companies buy it as an asset. That's how it works, right? As people start to jump into it. And you'll see more and more companies, take Bitcoin as a hedge, for example. So, yeah, why wouldn't they? Why wouldn't they? They believe in this area. To say it's like this one big Ponzi scheme, I think is a little short-sighted. I think it's an interesting, if we can find ways for blockchain to work around the world, it does sort of disrupt currency and disrupt transactions in a way. And so they're going to start to find ways where it works. And I think calling it like the early internet is a really good way to put it. If you recall at the time, I think you were around, John, I don't remember, but I was. And I remember everybody said, this is a scam. This is a Ponzi scheme. These are, you know what I mean? And then some things were very valuable. I mean, everyone's like, what is the internet? What is on it? If you remember that, I totally do. And I was like, everything is on it, like everything. Like can't even explain what's in the library, books, things, knowledge.
Shepard Smith here. Thanks for watching CNBC on YouTube.